about it right now. We are at AT&T. I'm partying with Cowboys Nation.
What is up? Welcome to another edition of Tag Nation. Your boy Mike Tag. You know I'm really hyped because we got the special guest. We got my boy Kelly K-9, so we're going to get him on. But first, make sure you guys subscribe, like, share. We're getting this party started. The season's getting closer, so we got a lot to cover. We're going to go into some various topics, but, you know, if I'm talking Cowboys, there are not too many better people to have on than my man Kelly K-9. So let's get him on. I don't waste no time. What's up, my brother?
What's going on, Big Mike?
Oh, I'm doing good. You know that someone told me today this is the last month without football until next year.
Yeah.
So we are
beautiful.
getting
we're getting beautiful close. Time of year.
Yes, yeah. So one thing I want to do a disclaimer before we jump on is, you know, I love my Cowboys cave. You know, it's always there. So I'm doing, you know, I want to give back to the fans. So I'm giving a beautiful Micah Parsons 11x14 signed photo. He's going to inscribe it 21 NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. As soon as we hit our 1,000 subscriber, where it looks like we're about just a little bit over 100 away, we're going to do a live drawing. So, hey, Kelly, you know, you're eligible for that. If you want to
I'm in on that.
In there, I'll let you know when it is. We'll get, you know, we got to get these caves looking tight, right?
I'm in on that. I'm in on that.
So listen, you were on a little bit ago, and we talked a little before, and you had a thunderstorm. You ran into some unfortunate issues, but like a true player, the Wi-Fi goes out. You run to the car. You make sure you don't skip a beat. We had a little scare in Florida, but it seems to be clear now. So hopefully, you and I will be able to have a uninterrupted conversation about the Cowboys.
Yeah. Get rid of the thunderstorms. The only thing in the air right now is Cowboys vibes. Cowboys is in the air. We getting close. I can taste it.
When we last talked, I think we didn't have the draft yet, so we got the draft now. You see what we got. You see the players. You had some concern, you know, and probably rightfully so. We lost Coop. We lost Gregory. So you're seeing what's going on. What is your today's thoughts on the Cowboys and where they're at today? I hear a lot that, you know, the Eagles have closed the gap. They've jumped us. What's your state of the Cowboys today?
Well, I still think we're the best. I still think that we're the best team in the NFC East. You know, I got quarterback for me is always the most important position on any team, and we got the best quarterback. You know, they everything I keep hearing about the Eagles all hinges around Jalen Hurts making a second-year leap. But he has to make that leap. I haven't seen anything to indicate that he can. I haven't seen anything, you know, that's jumped out there. I mean, he just kind of looks like an average quarterback. You know, but it is his second year. So, you know, you do see quarterbacks grow. You do see quarterbacks sometimes take that leap. But right now I'm taking the Cowboys in the NFC East. I do have some concerns, obviously, a little bit about this team. There's some positions that they're a little thin, but you know, overall, I think this Cowboys team can win the NFC East. You know, now once we do that and get in the playoffs, it's a whole nother ball game. So
no,
we'll see. We'll see how the season plays out.
I agree. Everyone who knows me knows how I feel about the Eagles. So the way I would say it, I've seen all the games in Dallas. We'll throw out the game where they said they didn't have their starters, right? We'll throw that one out. If they want, we could throw out the game that we didn't have our starting quarterback and we stomped the mud hole in them. If they don't want to talk about that, when they were they had their guys and we had our guys. We beat them handily every single time with Hurts. So I don't know, or even with Wentz, whoever's been there before, I don't think they're that much better. I mean, maybe they got a little bit better. Maybe instead of beating them by 20, maybe we beat them by 10. But to your point, I couldn't agree more. It all comes down to the quarterback. And I still believe that Dak is head and shoulders the best quarterback in our division. So it's still going to run through Dallas, you know, for me, no doubt about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, what is your the positions of concern, and we'll jump in. We're going to jump into this first because I really do want to get your thoughts. So we've been doing this position review, and we're talking about linebackers this week. So what's your thoughts on the linebackers? Now, my initial thought is when you're looking at, the preview of the linebackers. And the crazy thing is I don't know about you. I usually I spit them off the top of my head. But after Parsons, after LVE, and after Jabril Cox, I don't know what we have. So for me to say linebacker is the most concerning position that we have as a whole comes as, hey, wait, you got the best linebacker. And I did say that, the best linebacker in the NFL. How can that be a concern? But we want to use Parsons in so many different ways that you need to have linebackers to be able to, be able to hold it down while he's rushing the passer. So what's your thoughts of are you concerned? What's your thoughts on that position group?
Well, when I was talking about positions and areas of weakness, linebacker is one of them. It's Mr. Anonymous out there. This is where I when we were talking about, we were going to get into some linebacker stuff. This is where I took a little bit of notes and did a little bit of homework on here. So I'm looking at here, and like you said, we got LVE, we got Parsons. Now, we all think that Jabril Cox will be good, but we've only seen 2 games out of him.
Yeah, you always got to put Jabril in front of that. Make sure you do that.
Yeah, Jabril. Yes, we only seen 2 games out of him though, so it's very limited capacity. So, I mean, you're talking about. I looked in here. So between the 3 starting linebackers, they've got 72 games combined between the 3 of them. Now, obviously, Parsons is a lock here, but LVE last year was the first year that. Since his rookie season that he's really put together a full season and injuries really didn't hamper him, and he played a little bit better. But behind him, I mean, we've got 3 rookies who haven't played.
Undrafted, right? Undrafted rookies, and one they drafted it's not going to play.
Correct, so. And one that's not going to play. You got this Luke Gifford who has 31 games that he's played, or 31 games I guess that he's played in, but he's got a total of 14 tackles in those 31 games. Not really blowing
special teams guy.
Yeah, he's a special teams guy. You got Christian Sam. He was drafted in 2008. This dude is like Mr. Invisible because he was drafted in 2018, actually, not 2008. But he's got no stats. I thought I looked something up wrong. I was like, wait a second, how is that even possible? There's nothing, couldn't find anything, went to several different, nothing. So, I mean, he obviously is kind of a guy that's just a warm body. They got this Devontae Bond who has like 35. He's been in the league for about 5 years, but he only started in 5 games his last 2 years, or played in 5 games his last 2 years in Chicago. So, I mean, nothing behind the 3 that we've got gives me any kind of confidence. And, you look at a guy like Jabril Cox, and like I said, that's one of the outliers there. Is he going to be as good as we think he can? Because, I mean, there's nothing there that really we don't know. He's still kind of an unknown. Can he stay healthy? Can LVE stay healthy? I mean, because the thing is, if we get any injuries at that position, we could be in some trouble, and that's where I'd look at the Cowboys maybe making a move, grabbing somebody off training camp, off the wire, getting them off, somebody roster cuts or something. But it's definitely a razor thin position.
Yeah. Do you think that they're going to, last year they did a little bit with Jaron Kearse, having him at the line of scrimmage, almost acting like a linebacker. Yeah. And then you got, Marquis Ball? Marquis Ball. Undrafted, but he's highly touted. He's, bigger guy. They say that maybe he can be that line of scrimmage. So you wonder if it's going to be just, availability and position by availability if they have some injuries, because it was the one position I was surprised in free agency they really didn't address. It teased with Wagner. There was some teases about some other guys, but nothing really, nothing really happened. And, they like the guys that they have, right? The thing that Stephen Jones, he loves to say. But it could be a problem. Now, the question I would ask you is, I don't know if you listen to, 105.3. I listened to Sean and RJ, and I remember when Parsons got drafted, RJ, was a terrible pick. linebackers don't have the value. They're not an important position. So if you take that stance, well, the position that has really nothing besides Parsons is linebacker. I think it is important. I don't know. I think you always want to have, the best athletes you can and the best players you can at every level. But is it a position of concern, do you feel, in that defense?
Well, I mean, for me, it is just because of the lack of depth. I just feel like before, we've had some guys that have been back there that actually got, some experience and some playing time. Whereas right now we've got a bunch of guys who are just really haven't done anything. Obviously the rookies, you never know. You could strike gold on a rookie. I mean, we all know that. I mean, obviously Parsons was a lot higher pick than any of these other guys, but it doesn't mean that some of these other guys can't provide some depth that we might need, in rotational depth. But I did hear, and I did see, that we do play a lot of last year anyway. Last year that we played a lot of 2 linebacker sets.
Yeah.
So I mean, if that's the case, and you've got, and that's the case, and you've got Parsons and LVEs, your guys. I mean, I'd feel pretty good about that, and I absolutely do think that we could see Curse coming down and playing a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage, almost in one of those hybrid type roles.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's concerning just because of the fact that, that we're depending on Jabril Cox to be the guy that we think he can be. And anytime you're depending on somebody that you don't really know, he hasn't proven that he's that guy, it makes you a little nervous. It's a cause for some concern, because there's nothing behind him. Who do you depend on if he's not the guy? If he's not the guy, I mean, then you're forced to, whether you want to or not, run more of these 2 linebacker sets than putting 3 linebackers on that defense. And so, it's just one of those situations where I just kind of feel like it'd be nice to have a guy back there that was, a veteran guy, even if it was a guy that was a little long in the tooth, that could at least come in, that has done it before and is capable of doing it. So
yeah,
it's definitely a cause for concern in terms of the linebackers in my position. But the
good thing is we have number 11, and he can make up a lot of, he can make up for a lot of areas of weakness. So,
and I think Dan Quinn does a really good job of maximizing the talent, what people do well. You know what I mean? He figures out what, each player does well, and I think he maximizes that. So I think Dan Quinn will figure it out.
Yeah.
He'll know.
And you brought up an interesting part, getting away from the linebackers, an interesting point, I should say, with something the Cowboys do, and I think they've done it over the past few years. If you kind of look at the way they've modeled it, and they'll bring in these young guys, these drafted guys, and they put them in positions where they need to produce now. There's no learning curve. There's no grace period, so to speak. So looking at the draft, a couple guys, really, you can say 3 guys come to mind. With Tyler Smith, Jalen Tolbert, and Sam Williams, we're expecting, right, instant contribution. Tyler Smith penciled in as a starter at guard.
Yeah.
Jalen Tolbert is gonna, Gallup's, we don't know when he'll be back. Maybe he's missing 2 games, 3 games, 4 games. We'll see. But without him, I read somewhere where which I figured it would be, Tolbert's already penciled in as a starting receiver opposite CeeDee Lamb. So. And I'm sure with Sam Williams, you're losing Gregory. Yeah, now they got Fowler, and they've got some of the other guys they're bringing back. But I think they're going to be expecting him to contribute at some level, whether it just be maybe pass rushing. So, it's just one of those things as the unknown. And I think we've been very fortunate. I think we've struck gold with some of our guys, in the past few years. But how are you feeling about that group right there being able to instantly step up and make things happen? Anyone stand out to you that you're excited about?
Well, obviously, I think I'm excited about Tolbert because I think he's going to be able to get in there right away. I mean, I think he's kind of the obvious choice out of that group, just because he'll be able to impact the quickest. Because I think, when it comes to wide receiver, a lot of these college offenses, they pretty much mimic the pro offense. And it's gotten to be that point where it's not like it's too overly complicated to learn the route tree. So I think Tolbert, especially with the absence of Michael Gallup, I think he's going to be able to come in right away and make a make an impact. So I mean, he's probably the guy that I'd be looking forward to, coming in right away. Obviously, with pass rush, that's a little bit more. It just depends on what they're going to put our rookie pass rusher through. Are they going to have him just strictly be a guy that just rushes the quarterback? Because that's an area that he excelled at, but
Yeah.
He had some weaknesses in the run game that are concerning. You know what I mean? So that'll be something to kind of keep an eye on.
I would think that that's kind of what they're going to do. So so look at what they lost. So these are the things I go through, and we lose Connor Williams, right? We lose Gregory, we lose Cooper. My thoughts and just get your opinion on it. Cooper, I love Cooper, right? I love it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I got his jersey in the closet because you're not allowed to be in the cave. If you ain't on the Cowboys, you're done. You're out the door in the closet. So, so I did like him. I like Gregory. It was unfortunate the way things kind of went down with the contract. I mean, you can go any way you want. I don't personally, I've been on record plenty of times. I don't get involved with player contracts. I could, what they make is what they make. I'm not going to hold anyone to any kind of, standard, we can get into Zeke a little bit if you wanted, to do that. So, and with Connor Williams, he was a penalty machine. Lyle Collins, we'll throw him in there. I mean, didn't come into shape the 1 year, so he was pretty much out the whole year. Injured or suspended, I should say, last year. So what we lost, I mean, is it? I'm not losing sleep over it. I guess I'm not. I know a lot of people were upset. What's your take?
Yeah, I think probably the biggest loss out of the guys that we did lose, in my opinion, was probably Randy Gregory. But I think that his production can be replaced. I've heard a lot of people say, well, yeah, you got 6 sacks. Of course, 6 sacks can be replaced. They were like, but it's his motor, it's the way that he was constantly after the quarterback. It's the disruption that he caused. It's the double teams that he got, which I perfectly understand that. And I get that, but the thing was with Randy Gregory, as much as I love the guy and I wanted to see him sign with the Cowboys, I'm not going to say that I didn't. I wanted him to get re-signed. But the thing with him, though, is he did have a little bit of boneheaded in him, where at times he'd make a costly penalty,
playoff game.
The playoff game. I mean, he made some plays that made you kind of scratch your head, and you'd be like, man, I mean, this guy's got some maturity issues, it seems like. And I feel like he's kind of had a little bit of that, through his whole career. But, I mean, I'd say a guy like him is going to be missed, but I also do believe, and I've pounded on my chest from the day that we hired him, is that Dan Quinn is one of the best defensive coordinators when it comes to putting guys in a position to succeed. I feel like he does that better than anybody out there. I think that's why his name was ballyhooed to be a head coach at some of these other teams and stuff, is because they know what he gets out of his players, and it's greatness. It's plain and simple. It's plain to see. You go from Nolan's defense to Quinn's defense, pretty much the same personnel. Don't
give me flashbacks, please. You're killing me.
I mean, you think about it. You added Parsons. Yeah, he was a great talented player, but ultimately you were pretty much dealing with a lot of the same things that Nolan had. And I mean, the turnaround was instant. It was instant.
It's amazing to me when, I always tell people when, talking sports, baseball, how much does a manager really impact? Very, to me, very little in baseball. Basketball. Right. I mean, you get me on the right team, I can throw the ball out and give me LeBron in his prime and some of these other guys. Yeah. Football is the one game where coaching makes the biggest impact. And that's why you see these quick turnarounds. That's why you see this offensive coordinator gets hired over here, and all of a sudden this team goes from 4 to 12, 4-12. The next thing you know, they're in the playoffs, they're fighting for the Super Bowl. And that's why with Quinn, I thought it was the most important thing over all the free agency to me is getting him back. If we would have lost him, I don't care if we would have kept Gregory or anyone else. That was the most important thing that this team could have done, was to keep Dan Quinn as a defensive coordinator for this season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was before the season started last year, when they I got asked the question several times, what was the most important, significant signing that the Cowboys did? My answer was the same all the time. I was like, I can't go with a player. I'm going with Dan Quinn.
Oh yeah.
Former head coach and and great defensive coordinator. And people will say what they will about his tenure, how his tenure ended up in Atlanta, but I would even go as far as to say the guy's a great head coach too. I mean, he got his team to the Super Bowl. I get it. They blew that 28-3. That'll be what it gets remembered in Atlanta. But the fact that he got them to a Super Bowl.
What would we do to get to a Super Bowl, man?
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. Let's. I'd kill to get into a Super Bowl. They sit there like they blew a 28-3 lead. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want the Cowboys to win a Super Bowl, but if we went to the Super Bowl last year and we blew a 28-3 lead, at least I'd be optimistic. Like, hey, we made it to the Super Bowl last year. We could
shut everybody up because it's like I say, they always, what pisses me off sometimes is they always bring up our past, but it's always very selective past.
Correct.
And then you can't bring up, and then they always talk about their past. So when does the past stop? Let me ask you, when does the past stop? How many years can you live off a Super Bowl, or how many years is it, that you got to be back to where we're being criticized all the time?
Yeah, what's your
timeline?
Exactly. Where's the timeline? I say that all the time because I feel like that, with Eagles fans, they won that Super Bowl, and I feel like 20 years from now, they'll still be talking about that Super Bowl. So, yeah, I mean, when's the past? It's funny because, like you said, with selective memory, people they'll remember your biggest failure, but they'll never give you credit for your biggest accomplishment. Yeah. And that happens a lot. It happens a lot where people do that. You know what I mean? They'll sit there and they'll talk about, the Falcons blowing that 28-3, but I mean, they got to the Super Bowl though. Yeah. I mean, and that is no small feat. It's a big accomplishment. I mean, it's what everybody wants to get to. Everybody wants to get to the Super Bowl. So,
and it's really on that one. I mean, my man Jimmy D's on vacation. He's a Falcons fan, so as a friend, me and my buddies, it was and it really broke my heart because I hate the I really wanted them to win and not the Patriots to get another one. But I know he was singing and dancing. I mean, they dominated the whole way, but. It all comes down. Unfortunately, Quinn has to pay the price for that. But the offensive coordinator, for the way he called that game at the end, when all you had a big enough lead, all you had to do was grind it down and run out the clock, and then all you had to do was run the ball a couple of times and kick a field goal, game over. But his arrogance, because he was trying to get a coaching job, he wanted to show I can stomp, Belichick. And we're going to show them. It backfired, really bad. And then I would say, if I was Matt Ryan, I would have told the coordinator, "Hey, screw you, pal. I'm changing this thing up, and we're going to run the ball."
Checking out, checking out every pass play. We're running it.
Yeah, because if I was a Falcons fan, I think I would have ran out on the field. I would have had to do something because you could see it coming. You saw everything that was happening, and it was man. It was rough, but yeah, I don't know if I would trade going to the Super Bowl. I don't know if I'd trade going to the Super Bowl for that because I don't know if I'd make it through the night. I'd probably lose 2 or 3 TVs by the time the game's over.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Super Bowl is just obviously I want to win the Super Bowl, man. But I mean, just the fact that we haven't even won more than we haven't went further than the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's just discouraging, man, when you think about it and stuff. But I mean, kind of going back to your whole timeline thing, I don't care what anybody says, man. I always tell people when they say, "Yeah, you watch, Super Bowl, it's on VHS tapes, 95, blah blah blah, this and that." Well, they don't take them away because they're old. They don't take those Super Bowl trophies. They're still sitting down there in Dallas. They don't remove them because there's a time limit. There's not an expiration date on them. I get it. It's been a long time, but I'm still loyal. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here for the next one, and it's going to happen eventually. And when it does, like, we talked about in the before the show started, it's going to be sweet. It's going to be sweet.
And the funny thing is Jay Tuck, he says this, and and I've said it too. It's just interesting. We haven't gone to the Super Bowl in 30 years, but I mean, the Patriots passed us and the Steelers were ahead of us. So really one team's passed us in 30 years. And when it comes to playoff victories, we've only won 3 in 25 years, whatever that is. Yeah. And only the Steelers, I believe it's the Steelers and the Patriots. I don't even know if the Patriots are ahead of us, but it's like 2 teams ahead of us. Maybe the Patriots are ahead of us now. But where is all these guys had all these years to catch up, and they ain't even gotten close yet.
Yeah, exactly. Danny said, what will be the Cowboys' Achilles heel this season? Danny asked us. What do you?
Now this is my brother. He's the big fan of yours. So
all right,
he's a Broncos fan. So, but I'm trying to convert him into a Cowboys fan. Didn't help last year, but we're going to try again.
Yeah, biggest Achilles heel. That's hard to say. I mean,
I got one.
Go ahead,
Kellen Moore.
See, that's about where I was going. I was about to say the offensive coordinator. I mean, I think that if he's Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I want to run through a couple of these because my boys are on vacation. So my man Dom, he's a producer. He wanted to say hello. He was on the show. He was producing the show last time. And then Danny, he said your co-host reminds me of Jimmy D, but this guy has talent. I don't know.
Shots fired.
I don't know if Jimmy's gonna like that. And then we got Camo Piper. Now he says stop living in the past. Now this dumbass is a 49ers fan. And when did they win their last Super Bowl? Can someone answer that question for me? And the funny thing is you guys won that Super Bowl. And what did we do? What did Jerry Jones do? He took your best player, snatched him from your heart, put him on the Cowboys, and we won the Super Bowl the next year. So you shut your mouth. You got nothing to say.
Yeah, that's true. I get it, man. And I got one of my best friends is a 49ers fan, and boy, he hasn't. He talks about how they've been real close. They've been real close. He's like, we've been real close. We've been closer than you guys. I said, well, close doesn't really win you shit, does it?
No.
Close don't win you nothing.
Well, that's the thing is, and it really sucks in football because if you don't win the Super Bowl, you're shit, right? It's just like your season means nothing. You can go, as great, and tell me why. And I don't want to get off topic, but tell me why Aaron Rodgers gets a pass. They've been 13-3 the last 3 years, number 1 seed. Hasn't won a Super Bowl in forever. The one Super Bowl he got was with McCarthy. So, everyone says that McCarthy got the Super Bowl, because of Rodgers. Well, Rodgers ain't won none since. He's a great quarterback, right? Yeah. I mean, you can't argue the talent, but he gets a pass. And no one ever brings up, what's happened to them and the failures in the playoffs with him. What's your thoughts on that?
The only logical explanation is that he's made deeper playoff runs. I guess is that he's won some playoff games. But see, I've caught a lot of heat for it, for saying that Aaron Rodgers is an overrated quarterback. Because people will sit there and they'll talk about him. I've heard him be mentioned as the greatest QB ever. I've heard even people say that he's better than Brady.
No.
And I'm like, how? Like how? You can sit there and you can say, okay, the Patriots got lucky on a couple, and they had a great defense and this and that, whatever. Aaron Rodgers has had plenty of chances to get his team into the Super Bowl, and he's failed. Yeah, quite simple. He's failed. I think it was not this last year, but I think the year before last when they had their playoff loss. Who did they lose to? I can't remember that they. Was it in the NFC Championship game?
They made it to the NFC Championship game and lost. Okay, it would have been the Bucs, right?
Yeah. So Aaron Rodgers had a play that just stuck out to me. I think it was 3rd down there in their red zone. I think they ended up kicking a field goal, and I think they missed the field goal. But this was on 3rd down. Aaron Rodgers had a play that was basically where the field just opened up, and it looked like he could have walked it into the end zone. Yeah. Like he could have ran it into the end zone, but he kept scrambling, and then he throws the ball and it's an incomplete pass. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, the greatest quarterback with the greatest vision and the greatest, he walks on water. he was like 4, I think it was 4 yards. I think it was like 3rd and 4 or something like that. I mean, and you're not going to run. You don't see the field open like that. And your first thought's not, I'm going to run. I'm going to do anything I can for this first down. Because I can promise you, ran through a brick wall to get into that end zone. If it would opened up like it did for him.
Hell yeah. I just want to, I just got, there was a comment made about Jimmy. He got offended. So it looks like he snuck on. So I want to bring him in because I'm a man of, I want to be fair. I want to be fair to Jimmy. Jimmy, you there? Jimmy, you get 2 seconds. It ain't right. We're going to cut you off.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you,
Speak
Jimmy.
now, forever hold your peace.
Well, first we got Danny on there running his mouth, the normal thing. It's a normal thing with Danny running his mouth. Like, you got to turn my volume up.
I can
Put my volume on. You can hear me? All right. I'm not worried about Danny. I'm worried about the first thing I'm worried about is Dak Prescott being the best quarterback in the NFC.
NFC East?
NFC East. NFC East.
NFC.
We're not going to be able to get him on there. Jimmy, you got some cheap ass internet, so I don't know what the hell is going on. Let's get this thing right. You're breaking up. We can't ruin the show and have a slowdown. We got to get the hype back up. So anyway, Dak in the whole NFL, my man.
There we go.
Coming in Brian says in the whole NFL. I won't go that far. I will say that, I'll bring you in on the conversation. You saw the top 10 that came out. What is your assessment of that? Are you comfortable with that list and where Dak is, or is there something that you don't like?
Absolutely not. First of all, I don't have him better than, because we're talking about coming into this year. Okay. This year, right? Yep. Russell Wilson hasn't done anything the past 2 years. I would venture to say that he has fallen off. I know Denver fans are super excited. He is an upgrade over what you had, but I think Russell Wilson has fallen off. I think with how many times he's been hit up there in Seattle, it takes a toll on the body, and you're seeing it now. So I don't put Russell Wilson there. I might actually even drop Russ out of my top 10, possibly. Borderline. Deshaun Watson, no way in hell is he in front of Dak Prescott, a guy who didn't even play last year. You're going to put him to not one snap. You're going to put him in front of Dak Prescott. And if you're going to want to go on past accolades, what has he done more than Dak Prescott? Because the resumes are similar. So the dance, nothing there. So no, Watson shouldn't be ahead of him. And as far as Herbert, Dak beat Justin Herbert head to head last year. So I'm sorry, I can't do that. I've got Dak. I typically put him in my 7 to 9 range. In this list, I'd have him at number 7. At this list, I could have him number 7. I feel like that, Joe Burrow, he made his run to the playoffs. I think he might be getting a little overhyped.
A little too much.
Super Bowl, a little bit too much. We'll see what he does this year, but I can get the argument coming off a Super Bowl that you're going to have him there. But I'm having Dak at that 7 spot for sure. And then just kind of go from there. So I don't have any problem with that list. And I get people kind of moving him around the list, but having him down there with Russell Wilson ahead of him and Deshaun Watson and Herbert, I can't do that.
And I agree. And, again, people with a selective memory, didn't Dak beat Russell Wilson in the playoffs? If that's what you're going by, right? Is that what we're going by?
Correct. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think I like Burrow. I liked him in college. I liked him in LSU. I think he's got that moxie. He's got that swag. They got hot. They got hot at the right time. They were 10-7. It wasn't like they were steamrolling, into the playoffs. But they got hot at the right time, and that's why I say I think the one thing I wish that Dallas would do is have to fight to get in the playoffs. So hopefully, Eagle fans, this is your opportunity. Put up a fight. So it makes it work a little bit harder in our division. So we are, I think, and that's what helped the Niners. I'll give the Niners credit. They had to fight to the very last game. They weren't sure if they were getting in. And I think that's what that's what you really need to have. And I think a team like Dallas, we're believe it or not, we're still a pretty young football team. We're one of the younger teams in the NFL and not that experience that you have in the playoffs. You want to be almost playoff atmosphere the last 4 games of the season where you're fighting your ass off to get in. And I'm hoping that that's the case. Everyone would love to go 17-0 and whatever, but I would have no problem if it's a dogfight to the end and we got a lot of momentum going into the playoffs.
Yeah, you know what? I welcome a challenge. I'm tired of basically just having a bitch slap the NFC East. You know, Dak is basically their daddy, and the rest of the NFC East. You know, no matter how much trash they talk, no matter what they say, facts are facts. Look at Dak's record versus the Eagles. Look at his record versus the Redskins, Commanders. Sorry,
yeah, watch
old habits die hard. I look at his record against the Giants. I mean, these teams are not giving Dak a challenge. They're just not. So I mean, they got to step up. They got to give us some. They got to give us some. You know, a reason. You know, stop worrying about making beat Dallas T-shirts and actually bring that all that T-shirt making effort to the field.
Absolutely.
Put it on the field. Put that energy on the field.
It's a lot of popping the chops so far this offseason. You know, they got everything going, but like you said, it starts at the quarterback. So that brings me into a topic and you know, really value your opinion on this, being you know, huge Cowboys fan, is probably the most polarizing player that I can think of, you know, for us over the post, you know, Aikman, let's just say era, the post 90s era, is Tony Romo. So and I apologize for the graphic mess up. All right, I should have made him smaller, but originally this was a single screen. I work full time. This is just for fun, so I will mess up here and there. But anyway, so when you look at Tony Romo, you know, he's an undrafted free agent, and it was funny. His rookie season, I actually had a chance to meet him at a hotel. The Cowboys were playing the Buccaneers. It was a year like Quincy Carter was the quarterback, and I met Jason Witten was a rookie and Tony Romo, and I ended up getting him signed on a full-size helmet. Tony Romo was sitting in the lobby. No one even knew who the hell he was. He was sitting there all by himself, and I just got up. And the helmet I get is both of them by chance. So he was undrafted. He had to fight to make the team. I mean, basically, he was a drug test fail from Quincy Carter to probably, you don't know what would have happened, right? You don't know if he would have been able to, you know, ever be found. So I hear a lot of he underachieved. I would make the argument he was an overachiever. And so the Cowboys franchise, you know, if you're a fan long enough, you go back to our era, that era between Aikman and Romo were dark days. You had just a parade of quarterbacks. You had terrible teams. And you wonder where the Cowboys would be if Romo didn't come along. He was a lightning rod to that franchise and kind of got them back to, you know, relevance and got them back to at least, you know, winning, you know, maybe not winning Super Bowls, but I mean, he won. So his career is always pretty interesting to me. And I kind of was thinking about it because I was watching the NFL Network, you know, this weekend. They were showing like the biggest shootouts, and the game that always comes to mind, you know, they always come up as the Broncos, you know, Cowboys game. And that was a 51-48 game. It was, you know, if you hadn't seen it, I can watch it 100 times. And my dad was laughing at me because he was here, and he goes, "Didn't you see this game? It's like you're talking like, you know, and you're screaming at the TV like it's going on now. But you look back and you think, oh man, do this, I'll do that. Oh, if they would have helped, you know, it was just it was a great game. But I think what it really did, that was, to me, and I don't know your opinion, we'll get it, but that was Tony Romo's career in a nutshell. I mean, the guy could do no wrong for 59 minutes and 30 seconds. It was probably 57 minutes, whatever it was. And he made one mistake. And the one mistake was at the most crucial point of the game. Throws an interception inside our 20 or 25. Broncos kick a field goal. There was a tie game. They go ahead 51-48. Game over. He throws for, I think it was, I don't know, I can't remember if Dak broke it, but it was a Cowboys record time, 504 yards or something like that. And 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. And he goes down, as you know, and I saw Twitter comments about it because I posted something about the game, is, you know, that's why we always lose with him, this and that. I mean, the guy played brilliant, but when it counted the most, he just always came up short, and it just seemed to be that way for his career.
Yeah, he was a really, you're right. He kind of brought us out of that dark era and got the Cowboys competitive again. And, and it's funny that, I get it. He didn't accomplish the ultimate goal in winning a Super Bowl. But, you can't deny the guy's talent. I feel like no matter which side of the argument you sit on, you can't deny the guy's talent. An undrafted rookie, like you said, I definitely think he overachieved. The only thing is that he played for the Dallas Cowboys. If he played for any other franchise, that guy would probably be going into one of their, is one of their better quarterbacks that they've had. Maybe they're a Ring of Honor or whatever other teams have to honor their great quarterbacks, because Romo was a great quarterback. You look at it statistically, you look at the wins, you look at the fourth quarter comebacks. I mean, the guy was, the talent was undeniable. The talent was undeniable. It was there. It just didn't accomplish the ultimate goal. But yeah, I mean, you get that's the thing. He played for the Cowboys, so he's compared to the Aikmans. He's compared to Staubach. He's compared to guys that have the hardware. So I mean, that was the tough thing for Romo. I always kind of felt bad for the guy that he didn't win it all. But like me and you when we were talking, I kind of think about that. Two of his plays, a couple of them that obviously stand out. I think about that Rams game when the ball got snapped over his head and went 35 yards back, and turned that he kicked the ball once, grabs it, eludes a defender, gets the first down. I mean, an amazing play. They're talking about, hey, this will be talked about for years to come. I actually just watched it earlier today, kind of prepping for the show. And then you think about the botched hold in Seattle. There were the moments that made your jaw drop, and then there was the moments that made you slap your forehead and go, what in the hell is going on, man? But at the end of the day, man, I appreciate Romo for what he did. I wish he could have won that Super Bowl, but I mean, he was nobody wanted it more. Nobody. I mean, he came out there and he gave it his all, and in the end, his body failed him, and he couldn't hold up. But. Yeah. He's definitely one of the great Cowboy quarterbacks for sure.
I think back to it was a Monday night game against the Bills, and I don't know if you remember it.
Five interceptions.
Yes,
sir.
And they end up winning. And it always makes me happy because I can't stand the Bills. I used to feel sorry for him because we slapped him around in the Super Bowl, and it actually broke my heart a little bit because Jim Kelly was a hurricane. So I always have a spot for Jim Kelly. I think he is one of the most underappreciated quarterbacks, even though he's in the Hall of Fame. What they did, I'll give him credit. 4 Super Bowls in a row. Yeah, they didn't win it, but that's pretty damn amazing. But anytime you can play the Bills, and especially it was in Buffalo, and just absolutely ripped their heart out because they dominated the whole game, and he did everything. Yeah. I almost think the 5 picks were in the first half, or it was very early in the game. Something like that. Came back to win. It was that was another Romo moment. That was one of those things, these Romo moments that he had in his career with the Cowboys.
Yeah, he was. I remember early in his career, he got compared to Brett Favre a lot because that was his guy that he grew up watching, and that's a guy he wanted to, and he was a gunslinger. You know what I mean? He'd chunk that ball around, and there'd be times where Romo would come out there, and you'd early in his career he cut down on the interceptions towards the end, but for a little while there he was just as likely to throw 3 interceptions as he was 3 touchdowns. So it was he got a little gunslinger in him for sure. But yeah, I definitely appreciate Romo and his his career for the Cowboys. Like I said, it's a shame that his career went to waste with in the end it only came out to 2 playoff wins, but you can't. He did keep us competitive. He got us out of those 5-11 years that we had, and got us into had some pretty great playoff games, even though we came up on the short end. Romo and Dez, that's probably the biggest gut wrencher of them all. So but ultimately a great guy.
Let me ask you a question too on it is Parcells. So, after that Seattle loss, tough, the playoff loss, and do you think if Parcells stuck around, you think, a Super Bowl could have came to Dallas?
Possibly. I mean, Parcells was a great head coach. I mean, you can't look at anywhere he went. I mean, he won everywhere that he went, but in the end, it's one of those things that just makes you wonder. You always hear all those guys that say Jerry wants a yes man, and then you get a guy like Parcells that's like, that didn't want to be a yes man and wanted to be his own guy. I mean, I think he had that quote about, he wants to do the grocery shopping and the cooking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jerry's just always kind of been the guy there that's always had his hand in the kitchen. You know what I mean? He's had his hand in the pot. He wants to stir the soup a little bit. So yeah, I think they probably could have, honestly. I mean, I think Parcells is undeniably one of the greater coaches that's coached in the NFL. So I was pretty upset when he left, but yeah, it's one of those things where I guess we'll never know, man.
I wish I knew why. I guess that's the part that I just wish I would have. You never know. Was it the TO thing? What was it that put him over? Because the team, to me, if you really look at, you're talking about, you had Ware, Spears. I mean, the team was young and they were loaded. And they had, obviously they had the running game with Barber, late Marion Barber and those guys, two-headed monster, and Romo was kind of getting in there. So it just seemed like everything was kind of getting ready. They were ready to make that run, and then it was just, with Parcells, and they had success afterwards. I mean, let's not mistake, they went 13-3. Right after that, and everything was going good, and Cabo will always. I think Romo's always going to be tied to Cabo and that decision, which I think was overblown. I don't know. I can't see taking a weekend getaway, on a bye week in the playoffs that really hurt. I don't know. I mean, I've never been an NFL player, so I don't know if that takes that much out of you. Maybe like my man said, Jessica Simpson, that maybe in her prime, that might have taken a little something out of him. I don't know, but it was just, that's always unfortunate ways it could be remembered for. In that playoff game, if you go back to it, and again, it's a Romo moment. Now, see what happens, Kelly. You get me start thinking. I'm going to start talking. We're going to be here till 2 a.m. But that Giants game, Patrick Creighton, Romo hits him in stride. Patrick Creighton, he catches that ball. We're winning, and I said in that game the whole time, get the lead, we get the lead, it's over, and that would have done it. And I think it's one of those, who knows what would have happened next. And it's always the life of a Cowboys fan lately. That's about all we can do.
Yeah, I mean, there's always something. I don't watch the show. I don't like it. I don't like the guy. I can't really tolerate him yelling over the top of everybody else. But Stephen A. Smith has his little shtick that he uses. The Cowboys are an accident waiting to happen. Now, I think you can say this about a lot of teams, but the Cowboys are the worst accident.
Yeah.
It's like you said, they always rip your heart out in the most, just gut-wrenching way. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whether it's the Dez catch, or whether it was, DeMarco Murray before that, fumbling the ball, you know what I mean? When he fumbles the ball, because if he doesn't fumble that ball, probably taking that to the house. We're not even talking about the.
That's what I tell people. The play they talk about, the Dez catch. That to me was the play.
Yeah, it was absolutely. I mean, it turned the tide of that game, and I mean, and then you talk about the when Dak as a rookie went, and this is his other thing that nobody talks about is 2016. But I mean, as a rookie, he went head to head with Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
he went head to head with Aaron Rodgers, and I would say that he outplayed Aaron Rodgers up until that very last possession when somehow, some way they convert this 3rd and long, and then their field goal kicker nails it. I mean, but it's just another example, getting your heart ripped out. You know what I mean?
That's what it is. They go to overtime, they win, and that's something we talked about. With Jerry Jones and everything that happened with Jimmy Johnson, and the urban legend that he made a deal with the devil and just begged for one Super Bowl. He'd never asked for another one. And I'm not a big, I'm not one of those guys in believers, but god dang, man, it sure seems like it, because the way they lose in the playoffs, it's like, they can't find any worse way to lose. They just can't find no worse way to make it happen. But real quick, I want to give him his chance to retort. We're gonna try Jimmy one more time. But Jimmy, if it's muffled, I got to cut you off because we got a show to run. So we are gonna give you one more chance, Jimmy.
How about now?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Is it working?
What you gotta say.
Yeah, I apologize about this Virginia internet. Okay, first off. But I got to say, Danny, I don't care what Danny says because his opinion means nothing. However, the 49ers, I don't like them, but I'm going to play ball with them. You know why? Because Camel Piper's right here, and he took a lot of exception to what you had to say about the 49ers. So we'll have to put him online here.
I'm tired. Tired of all this crying and whining from Dallas Cowboys.
What are you doing? You're doing
I couldn't
nothing.
get this. I couldn't get that.
Nothing.
2
You're
Super
hanging out
Bowls.
with a loser Falcon fan because that's what you guys are.
Hey, shut your mouth.
I'd rather be with a Falcon fan than a Cowboy fan. But you know what's better than a Falcon fan and a Cowboy fan and a Giant fan?
Oh God. I just love slapping around them Giants every year.
Wait a minute.
I got one question.
What's
I
up?
got one question. Mike,
What's up?
I heard you say the Niners were in 2 Super Bowls and they lost. So what's the point? Well, then what's the point if you guys played for 27 years if you don't want to go to a Super Bowl?
Why
You guys haven't been there
in
7 years.
28 years. Why do you want a Super Bowl in 28 years?
If you don't want to get to the Super Bowl, 27 years. Why don't you still play? Why do you want? You don't care to get Super Bowl and lose. What the heck?
I don't want to lose. When we go to the Super Bowls, we win. That's the difference between you and us. We go, we win. We don't go there and spend five grand sitting in the seat, watch us get our asses kicked. We're going there to win. You don't know nothing about that. Look at him. He's a coward. He hung up. What a coward. What an absolute coward. Hung up the phone. I have no time for that on this channel.
There was no
man.
First of all,
that was incredible, man. You got, I mean, you had the Falcons fan, you had a Niners fan, and the Giants. Where do you come up with a trio like that?
What do you think they're doing later on tonight?
Where do you come up with a trio like that? My goodness, like Larry, Curly, and Moe.
I'm telling you. So listen, I'm having a great time. I could be all night, but I think the most important thing is I need to know what Jerry. I need the inner Jerry to come through. I need to understand what's going on with these boys because Kelly and I are coming down. We're coming down to AT&T because we're going to wreck shop. We're going to make this thing happen. You guys, the Twitter world, I don't know if they're going to be the same after we're in the same building together, in the same room, ready to hype this thing up. So I need you to pull that Jerry out, and I need to know what's on the mind. What's his feel of this team and what's going to happen when we're there?
Well, now, you know that anytime we're getting close to the start of the season, it's Mike Tag season. And don't nobody get more hype and get the Cowboys fans no more hype than my man Mike Tag. So let me just say this. The hype is well deserved. This Cowboys team is kind of like a dish. And that dish has been marinating. There's not any time you throw some good meat on the grill if you don't marinate it. And this Cowboys team, it's just had to marinate. We've got a couple years now with Big Mike as our head coach, and now second year under Dan Quinn, we're about to see some special things. We've given them the ingredients, and it's been marinating. And now it's time for Cowboys Nation to taste this fine cooking, starting Sunday night, 9/11, Cowboys versus Tampa Bay. We got a little something for Tom Brady. We got a little something for him. Start that season off right.
I love it. Now, we're not talking about dissecting a mosquito or anything, right?
Now, we're not talking about having to dissect or circumcise a mosquito. But listen, when I say I want some glory hole, I want some glory hole. I don't want to go to the glory hole. I want the glory hole.
I feel you, man. No, I love it, brother. I love it. It was no one better. It's funny because my brother has this idea, and I mean, you could do it. We got to figure it out. He said we've got to get a picture of Jerry and then get your mouth.
Yes, there we go.
Like
yeah. It's funny, all this, editing and all this different stuff. So I was down there in Texas and I was visiting my sister and my niece. She's like 8 years old and she's like a pro editor. She knows how to do all this. And she's telling me, she's like, I can help you with your videos. She's like, I can edit them for you. And I'm like, all right. I said, I'm going to send you a few things here throughout this year and we'll see what you can do. And she says she's going to walk me through some. So I'm taking advice from a 9-year-old here. Because,
yeah, I mean that's what you got to do. And,
hey, I'm just trying to learn. I'm just I'm one of them guys that's not don't really know how to do all the editing yet. And she's already on YouTube and putting videos out and stuff. So I'm taking advice from her, man.
Well, the one piece of the advice I'll give you as I've kind of been learning a little bit of this, and I got doing Photoshop and cutting stuff out and doing. I will never trust another picture of anybody I see in my life because what they can do is amazing.
Yeah, no doubt. With the angles and the filters and all that stuff, absolutely.
They can thin you out. They can put someone's head on yours, a body in this, and I did, so I'll give a shameless plug, and I definitely want you to plug some stuff as well. But I just started cowboyscave.com. So it's kind of, the man caves are my passion. Cowboys are my passion. So this is kind of, a hub for all that. So there you can see the videos, you can see the hype videos. I got photo gallery hanging with Cowboys Nation, and all sorts of stuff. But one thing I have some player interviews. I did an interview with Larry Cole, a Cowboys great. Rod Martin played with the Raiders, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Even though he's a Raider, he's a great guy. I mean, it was a fun interview. But then the passion is the cave. So I'm starting a kickoff where I want these fans across the nation. I want to see the caves across the nation to email me, send it to me. You can send it through Twitter. You can send it through mike@cowboyscave.com. And I want to put them on there. And then we're going to have, maybe the cave of the month. We're going to be doing little specials. And of course, I've got so much Cowboy stuff that, you got to share the wealth. You got to show the love, and then hopefully add those pieces, to the Cowboys cave. So again, like I said, it's starting with the Micah Parsons, but it's cool. So that's what you made me think of it. Talking about the 9-year-old, because it's amazing what people can do. They're so far ahead of at least I'll say my generation. I don't want to age you, but my generation that we have. So, but. Tell everyone where they can find you, because I mean, I don't know how. If you're following me, you better be following Kelly K-9, because he brings it. He brings it, and you definitely never want to miss not only the Cowboys stuff, just I feel like I know so much about your life, your family. When I'm down, I just go to your page directly, and I don't have to scroll too far till I start laughing at something you said or something you do. So where can everyone find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. That's really the main spot. So it's at Kelly K9 on Twitter, and I try to keep it positive, and share things about my life and things that are going on, because life can be hard sometimes, man, and who doesn't need a good laugh every now and then? So that's what I try to do, is just keep it positive. Too much negativity that's going on and stuff. So that, and then the Cowboys, it's like a group therapy session. We got a huge nation of Cowboys fans, and I think we all lift each other up when we're down, and hype each other up before these games. And I mean, I wouldn't want to ride with any other fan base other than Cowboys Nation. I love Cowboys Nation. I love football in general. I love chopping it up with my fans. Jimmy D, it was good seeing you pop in. Absolutely. So yeah, man, I love the sport of football. It's awesome. The trash talk, the smack talk, the competition, the camaraderie. It's all good. It's all good. So
Yeah, and I
definitely-
think I don't know.
definitely
You don't live in Dallas, right? So where you're at, are there a lot of Cowboy fans where you're at? Or you kind of
Yeah. So actually, I mean, there's quite a few. I'm here in Omaha, Nebraska, and I moved up here from Texas, and I actually was surprised to meet as many Cowboys fans as I have. The first. I've been working the same job for 14 years, but I moved from one dealership to another, and during both dealerships, about 100 employees at both ones, and there was 3 Cowboys fans at the first one, and there's 3 Cowboys fans at this one that I'm at. So I was kind of surprised to meet them just right off the bat. There's Cowboys fans, and I've met several here in Omaha as well. So there's a large following of Cowboys fans. Pretty much.
No, I mean, they're global, but I tell you that the beautiful thing, of Twitter and social media, and there's a lot of bad with social media. So I mean, I guess I got to think about it, but. What I do love is I've been able to interact and meet and have a fan base. So being a fan, not living in Dallas, as growing up, I was always, because they sucked when I grew up. You got to understand, before 92, I was a lone Cowboy fan in middle school. And then when they started winning my senior year, I said, I see all these Cowboy stuff everywhere, pissed me off. But I was a lone wolf, and you didn't have the social media. You didn't have, all the NFL was nowhere near as big as it was. The schedules, you used to have to look in the paper the next day to see, who they're playing. But this has allowed me an opportunity to really hang and talk to Cowboy fans. And as hopefully you see the passion and the love I have for the team. It runs deep. And, we're a family. When I go to these Cowboy games, and you've been there, it is a family atmosphere. And, we ride the disappointments together, and we enjoy the wins together. And it's been nothing better. So I appreciate, a platform where I can, do the hype videos and have some fun with it. Some people take it a little too serious, and I enjoy the hate. The people always comment the hate if we lose. When we win, they don't say, hey, man, you said exactly what's going to happen, But, man, if we lose, they love to hate. They come out of the woodworks, but good or bad, you're watching it, so it's fun.
That's right. That's right. You can't let a couple of negative comments or deter you from doing what you do, because if people didn't like it, they wouldn't gravitate towards it, and they obviously, man, they love what you do. It's a great thing to see. I know I love it. I'm a fan of it. I think that, for all the bad that social media has, I think that if you're out there focusing on the bad, looking for the bad, you're going to find it. But if you just try to focus on that good stuff that's out there, there's plenty of it. Yeah. Cowboys Nation's a family. I've met plenty of people that I've become close friends with. I've got cell phone numbers. I've got your cell phone number. I've got, several people that I've met off Twitter that I have their personal numbers in my phone, that I'll contact from time to time and talk to outside of Twitter. So, it's a family, and, the love is definitely there. It's real. The passion's real, and it runs deep. Wouldn't have it any other way. Love it.
No. Well, I appreciate it. Hang tight. We're going to do a quick exit. I definitely want to talk to you afterwards, but Cowboys Nation, it was a great show. Whenever you can get Kelly K-9, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I had a blast. Now, a lot of people ask, hey, Jimmy D, where's Jimmy D? He's gone. He's been on vacation. I got to work where he works to have a 2-week vacation. I'm running this ship by myself. So come Monday, I'm taking off. I'm going down to Cocoa Beach. Maybe I'll find Hollywood Hogan out there. I'll slap him around or something. But anyway, I'm going to be off. So Jimmy D is going to have his opportunity to run the ship. So you guys tune in. He'll have some fun. I don't know. He'll mix it up, I'm sure. Maybe I'll peek in, during the show like he did. My internet will be a hell of a lot better. I promise you that. Otherwise, I won't go on the show that way. So anyway, like I said last week, or actually this week, I've been to this week. Here's a blast from the past. Kelly, if you followed me from the beginning, you saw it. If you didn't, this is the one that started it off. This is the one that Tank Lawrence kind of, he put me on the map. And the funny thing is, this is the one, it was a Saints game. No one said we'd win. I said we'd win. We came out and won. I woke my whole house up. So you guys if you make it to the very end, you might see my daughter. I woke her up because her room is actually on the other side of that wall. So anyway, I'll see you guys next week. Kelly, thank you so much for jumping on, man. I'll talk to you soon. Peace out, Cowboy Nation.
Eagles getting ready, because you might not like it. but you will learn to love it because we are the best thing going today. Now, can you dig it?